So what made you decide to get involved with marketing and advertising as a career?
I own my own company. It was a wholesale company, and I was moving into the retail space, and I was opening retail stores. And I'd never seen an ad agency. I didn't know anybody in the ad business, and somebody said, you need an ad agency to help you launch these retail stores. And so I met a guy named Carl Bannock in Great Falls, Montana, and he and I started having coffee, and I was looking at hiring him to do some work for us. And he blew me away. When I started learning about this space, it just seemed so exciting to me and so interesting to me. Before it was over, I sold my half of my company to my partner, and I went to work at an ad agency making about a quarter of, I made $12,500 my first year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And but I did it because I found it fascinating.
Before taxes?
Yeah, so I sat at the front desk of a 7-person agency and learned.
Okay, and so what is it about, you talked about the virtual agency, and especially the sort of trajectory that advertising is going, what is it about technology that's attracting you the most?
Right, it's a capability, right? It facilitates, because so that's the power of the technology for me is, as I said in my presentation, I think there's a dream team out there, and everybody's dream team is a little bit different, right, because of who they know, but I know these amazing people, and I could never help it whenever I worked in any agency. I'd go, oh, wouldn't it be great to work with so-and-so somewhere else, or that person somewhere else? But I've worked across the country, and so that's really impossible. And how am I going to get all the best people to move to Louisville or to Columbus or anywhere else, no matter how great a market is? You're just not going to do that. Technology lets me do that. And so I'm not in love with technology, I'm in love with the capability it creates for me.
Okay, cool. And so at what point did you realize that the virtual agency model had arrived, so to speak?
I don't know that it has. I would tell you, they say go Google virtual ad agency and see how many come up. There aren't many. I believe that I believe that RedRocket Connect is on the bleeding edge of this idea, and what will it be ultimately? I'm not sure. It's like I said in my presentation, every day at first we thought, will it even work? And now we've seen it work, and it's like, okay, but we weren't sure of that, and I could imagine it morphing. My partner and I say to ourselves all the time, we're dedicated to never having an employee or a building. And at the same time, we talk every now and go, well, maybe we would need that. And let's not say we absolutely not. But there's that commitment to doing great work and to having as much of our clients' money go into the marketing as possible versus whatever.
So what are some common mistakes people in your industry, whether they're deciding to launch their own virtual agency or they work at a virtual agency, what are some mistakes that they're making, and how do you think that they could do it better? I know you identified, people doing a virtual agency as a commodity,
right.
being
right. I think that's where my head goes, because again, I feel like we're so far in front. I have yet to find an agency that does what we do, that treats this. I act like an ad agency. I act like a Doe Anderson or whoever, an SBC or a GSW or a Facona Belding. My agency functions that way. I haven't seen other virtual agencies that are functioning that way. What I see, so it's hard for me to critique them. What makes me very concerned is that people are using technology and marrying technology with the creative class, and they're using it to treat our business like a commodity. And so they're driving, and it's not to me, and they're driving money prices down is where I'm going with this, right? And it's not that I begrudge the client getting a great deal. What makes me very concerned is I have creative directors and copywriters who have studied what I believe is a craft. They've gone to college, they've put years in to get the nuances of combinations of words and images to move people to action. And I think that by using technology to drive costs down to the point of a 99 designs, we're really, for lack of a better term, we're whoring ourselves out, and it's just, I couldn't be more disappointed and concerned about it, and I hope that virtual doesn't get us there. Right? That's a concern for me in this space right now.
Okay, and so what is one of the advantages or one of the things that you would say to a company that is considering going to a virtual agency versus a traditional agency? What were your elevator pitch?
Yeah, I always feel awkward because I don't want to kick a lot of sand in the eyes of the other ad agencies out there, because I think you got to be classy about it. But when I roll in, it's, as I said in my presentation, the people that are working for me are the very best people I at least know. The limit on the quality of the people are just my limit of knowledge base. So when I'm pitching clients, I'm going, this is the best talent across the country that is going to work directly on your business. In the ad business, I would get trotted out to pitch, but then again, and I do well in that. I'm a passionate guy. I have a lot of excitement. I have a lot of years of experience. But the truth is, I didn't put a lot of time into any client's work. I couldn't. I had other things I had to do. In this business, in the virtual model, so when I'm telling a client my elevator pitch, hopefully this is a tall elevator, quickly. Top flight talent, extremely nimble, like shockingly so. I know every client agency says this. We turn major projects in less than 2 weeks. I got a call on a Tuesday to do 3 videos, done in 2 weeks, shot, edited, boom, done. Nobody can do that. I love you dearly, but it's just not going to happen. Nimbleness, and then all of that leads also to a lower cost. And I don't want to lead with cost, but I think it is something that can't be ignored, that this model tends to return 20 to 30% lower cost than a traditional agency.
Cool. Is there any sort of benefit to the virtual agency turnaround time? I know you versus a traditional agency. So you're able to implement things faster.
Is there a benefit?
Yeah. Is there?
Well, I think clients feel that way. I mean, one of my frustrations in the agency business has always been we are too slow and too expensive. And I've been an agency insider for 20 years, and I've always been I'm like, why? And I've been an operational guy, and I still look at these things and go, why does this take so long? And the length of time is directly related to how expensive things are. So, all I can say is that I said that throughout that presentation. I feel like I say it way too much, but the reality is time gets compacted the more a client gets to talk directly with the people who do the work. It's just a fundamental fact. And I know agencies all the time go, oh, no, we let our creatives talk to, but they don't. It doesn't happen that way. I've never seen it happen that way, and I've literally walked through 100 agencies in my career. Right. Absolutely. And it just takes too long and it's too expensive. In the virtual model, the one that I'm using, things just move so much faster than even I expect them to move. Freelancers are hungry. They're very good. They're so skillful. When they talk directly to the client, they pick up on things I don't pick up on as an account guy, and that all compresses the time from client interaction to expertise on the ground, and it's a benefit. I knew there was some level of benefit, but it's significantly more than I expected, and clients love that. If you go ask a client what are their greatest frustrations with any agency, I don't care who it is. You can pick the greatest agency on earth. Still go ask, what are their clients? If you had to pick, what would they be? I'll tell you, time and money are going to be 2 of the things that land on that list every time. Okay. Right?
What is the best piece of career advice you've ever been given?
I said this, and again, I'm just so painfully blunt. But if you don't like what you're doing, in fact, I would say beyond that, love it. I wouldn't do it. And I know that practically you go, well, I've got bills to pay and I've got things to do, but I've done a lot of things. I grew up on a ranch. My dad offered to allow me to ranch. I worked in the oil industry for a number of years as a contract negotiator. I worked in the retail business as a manager regionally. I owned my own company, and then I got into the ad business, and I think I found my way there. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else. My mom is a nurse, and she tells me all the time, she's like, I know so few people who would love what they do. I think that's odd that in healthcare, particularly where I would think people would be really passionate. I know it's just so cliche, and so I'm sorry, but I really think find that thing that you just can get pumped about doing, and then find people you want to do it with. Because I work with people I like. Because I've worked at agencies doing ad work that I love, but couldn't stand going to work every day because of the scenario I was in, and that's a shame. Right. So anyway.
No, it's fine. And so, if you weren't doing the job that you have currently, what would you like to do and why?
So do I have to work, or can I just sit on the beach somewhere? That would be what I would be doing. I grew up, I told you, I was born in Montana, but I grew up in northern Canada, where right now it's probably 30 below zero. And
the latter.
there's nothing wrong with being warm. I love the South. I love getting as farther south is okay with me all day long. I wouldn't mind being a little maybe closer to Tennessee even. So if I could be doing anything else, I mean, I want to do this as long as I can. But then, I dream of sitting on the sand somewhere, reading a book. I love music. I'd be listening to music with my feet in the sand and some sun.
Okay, and so in the last question, what kind of advice or recommendations would you give to a young advertising professional who's looking to begin their career, and is attracted to the idea of a virtual agency, but obviously doesn't have that career backing to be vetted?
Yeah, that's hard. Because I mean, again, my model's not the only model. There will be other models where younger people with less experience probably get involved at some point. I tell people all the time, this is not your, I'll answer your question, but I tell people all the time, people used to ask me, what's the most proudest thing that you've done in the agency business? I used to say, I did a TV spot that was over $1 million for a client once. It was amazing. We had a helicopter. And now I think to myself, that was crazy. It's a shame we spent $1 million on a TV spot. But what I tell people now, what I'm most proud of are the young people. And I make it sound like I'm so old, but the younger people who've come in as interns and account coordinators, primarily in the client service side, who are still in the business. They're account soups now and account directors, and they're like they're my professional children. And I'm so proud that I've been able to share my love and passion in such a way that they go, I want to do what he does. And that is really a point of pride for me, that people they get. I can't believe that people pay me money and trust me to make magic for them, and I get to have a little part in that. And I just candidly, I don't feel like account guys do as much magic as the creative people, and I'm just in awe of them. My best friends in this business are not account people; they're creatives, and they always have been. And it's because I probably just have so much love and respect for what they do, and it just blows my mind. But it better be on time. So if I was giving young people advice. They woke up one day and said, I want to be an ad man. You know what? It's keep your integrity. Don't badmouth past employees or employers, and find that thing that you love. There's something, if you're in the business, find that thing, because it's not going to be all of it. You're going to love doing the pitch, or you're going to love running the business through the house, or you're going to love the brainstorming. But find that one thing that you can, and then plug into that. And I would also say, I'm blubbering, the other thing is always be a student of the business. Don't ever forget. You gotta be reading. If you're not reading Ad Week and reading a book every week, you shouldn't probably do this either. You have to. This business is changing every day. So love it. Nurture it by feeding yourself with great work. I always, in my career, even now, have found people usually older than me to act as a mentor, and they don't always know they're a mentor because it's awkward to go into somebody and go, would you be my mentor? But at the same time, I go in and talk to them every so often and just, what's going on? What do you think? What's your perspective? Because I want to learn. I think good ad people are always learning.